Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Jacqueline Foster here. I have to train myself. I do have to train myself because I've been saying welcome to the Paralegal Freelance Lounge for a year now, over a year. And as you will notice, the podcast has a change in name. So I want to dedicate this episode simply to update you on all the things that are happening in my space, and also through the mix of it, sort of giving you some extra real time insight as to what it looks like when you finally connect with your North Star client and what that means in terms of business and how simple it truly is in business, period, when you really start to figure it out. Okay, so little personal update. I kind of decided to kick back on my ADHD medications. So I found when I was writing my book that I am a better entrepreneur, or I'm a better creative when I'm not on my ADHD medications. It might help me to stay really micro focused on a task that I'm trying to get finished. But when I'm trying to be creative and get a message that's deep into my heart, out of my heart and into the world, I found that I need to just be Jacqueline in the way God made me. Okay. So, or I don't know, external influences also made me. But that's first, kind of foremost. Second thing you need to know before I get into explaining all the things that are happening around me is a little change I'm making towards my focus in the podcast and the YouTube channel. So I do publish my episodes dually to YouTube and the podcast. For the last, I want to say 8 months, maybe less, I don't know. I've been focusing on creating content for YouTube and then taking that and putting it on the podcast. In 2025, at least at the beginning, I am doing the reverse. So I'm focusing on content on my podcast and I'll just put it on YouTube. It's really funny. Neither of those platforms are my biggest driver of traffic to my website. To be honest, LinkedIn is my number one. And then followed by my Facebook group, and then direct, which direct could include, I don't even know, different websites, me getting just me sending links out. So whatever, I digress. But I realized that I don't have the time with all the other things that are going on in my space and the things that I'm trying to put out there to edit videos the way they should be edited to perform really well on YouTube and get long views and more subscribers and all that jazz. I'm fine with just talking into a microphone and sort of fumbling through it, if you will. And I've done that with the podcast. It grew, substantially by me just talking into a microphone before I even integrated the video piece of it. So we're back to focusing more heavily on the podcast than the YouTube channel, but I don't want to take away from the YouTube channel. I know I have avid listeners. I have paralegals that say I watch every single one of your videos, but I also have paralegals that say I listen to every single one of your podcast episodes in the car on my way to work. So I figured let's make them a little bit more lengthy, a little more focused to just having a conversation with you like you're in the car with me, and put it on YouTube, and I think it will serve both. That is, of course, until I decide, which is my other initiative in 2025, to hire officially a YouTube editor, video editor, manager, SEO, all that fun stuff. So that's coming sometime when I get time to get my ducks in a row and find somebody. I'm sure I'm going to get spammed now with tons of pitches from people, which is okay. Feel free. I'm in the considering phase. Okay, so just wanted to put that out there first and foremost so you understand why this YouTube video is a little longer, a little less oh, Jacqueline didn't put any effort into it, she didn't edit it. It's not that. I just have to give you the real uncut version of myself until I get caught up in all the new endeavors that I'm exploring. A lot of what I do with the YouTube, the podcast, my content is on my own time. It's not extensive, but I'm also a mom. I'm a dog mama. I'm a chicken mom, a goat mom, a horse mom. I think I did at the very beginning of that say a human mom first and foremost. I'm a wife. I also am a person that likes to sit and read a fiction book and not think about work 24/7. So yeah, that's my 2025 initiative, is just not stressing myself to be the best on all platforms. Okay. And you should take that to heart yourself. If you're going into paralegal entrepreneurship, if you're in the thick of it, if you're not quite there yet, just know that from day one. Focus on one platform, do really well there. Maybe 2 platforms, do really well there. And then the other ones you can show up on, but don't stretch yourself thin trying to be amazing on all platforms. So sorry, YouTube, I am kind of fading away from making you perfectly concise edited videos without all my squirrel moments. You get the raw version. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, I have my notes. Let's talk a little bit about the name story. You will notice that the podcast has been changed to Paralegals Should Be Millionaires. I'm assuming if you're a loyal listener and follower of mine on LinkedIn, you know about my book, Paralegals Should Be Millionaires. Funny story about that book is, and this feeds into the name change. We'll get there, okay? But funny story about this book is I was writing it for honestly over a year, on and off. I would scrap chapters. I would say, I don't like it. I would throw it off to the side. I'd start it again, this vicious cycle. And I really wanted to commit to launching it in January of 2025. So it was right around ready to get to the publishing phase of everything in December. And I just realized, like, I was having this moment. I think I was cleaning my house and I was sitting thinking about all the paralegal resources that currently exist out there, with the exception of a few, obviously, paralegal, I guess if you call them influencers, that I am aware of that are an amazing, like Misty Murray, Etta Rosa. Beyond Paralegals is doing really amazing things for the community. But it's like you go on Amazon and you type in paralegal and all you get is like textbook, which obviously they have a place in our space, but we don't have books that like empower us as people in an industry, or empower us in the specific ways that we need to hear it, being that we're in the specific industry we are in. And long story short, I kind of had a sentimental moment around the end of the year about all the things, my journey from going from $15 an hour at a local law firm to a multi-six-figure paralegal, and doing that with a baby on my lap, and having to push through imposter syndrome, and having to push through moments where I was just crying, debilitated, like paralyzed on my couch, not knowing where to begin because I was so insecure about what I even had to offer in the world of the industry, right? In the industry. And thinking about like all my old bosses and all my old colleagues and even family, friends, people generally in my space, like judging me or making fun of me for trying to make more than $15 an hour as a paralegal. And I won't go into too much depth about my story. Maybe I do owe you guys like an updated my journey story. I think the last one I did is like episode 3 on this podcast, and this will be episode 70. So maybe I do owe you an updated journey life story, and maybe I'll do that at some point. But for now, that's kind of the gist of it, of saying I was really oppressed by myself. And it wasn't necessarily the industry oppressing me alone, of saying like, sit down, shut up, you're a $15 an hour paralegal. It was also me and how I fed into just accepting what Indeed told me I could make and what the local law firms told me I was worth, and accepting that for so long that I never even thought in a million years that I would step out of that and go and be a multi-six-figure earner. No, I don't have a business background. Didn't go to school for business. I had no experience before the businesses I have now in building businesses, right? That wasn't my background. And all in all, I was just connecting, my book was The Paralegal Entrepreneur. And what that really started to feel like to me was, it was just another how-to without really addressing the why not. Like, why haven't we? Why aren't there more books out there written by actual paralegals about their life experience and their journey in the industry? Why are there not more paralegals out there making 5-figure to 10-figure months just selling courses on the knowledge that they have that other law firms and other paralegals need so desperately in the digital learning space. It's like we have not joined that like $1 trillion industry yet because we just get stuck thinking that's not our path. That's not in the cards for us. Why are there not more paralegals owning a small piece of what they're really good at and realizing how they can capitalize on that and make multi 6-figure, 7-figure businesses from it, right? And I was just like thinking about all these things as I was, I don't know, like vacuuming or doing something. And it just out of nowhere came out of my brain. Like I thought in my head, paralegals should be millionaires. And I wish I could get that across to the industry. You know, and that's not to sit and say like attorneys need to pay them 7 figures, attorneys need to pay them multiple 6 figures. It's not to say that. It's taking that reality that paralegals should be millionaires off of the person writing the employee check and into our own hands and saying, okay, this is what we have control of in our own industry, in our own careers, and taking the concept that I've always reiterated to my course members, to my community, like you don't have to accept the situation you first find yourself. And if the industry is for some reason telling you that you can't make more, that you can't make more than just, oh, I got my paycheck this Friday, I have about $200 left over, what am I going to do with it? You know, we can have more. And again, it's not so much a battle cry to law firms or to the industry or to the ABA or to NALA or to anything to say like, help us get better pay, help us get more recognition. It's an actual empowerment paired with a guide and how we just claim it, how we just take it, how we don't wait for it. And we don't need to wait for the industry to tick upward in our salaries, okay? So I kind of went down a tangent there, but it's to all say like that was the main aha moment I had in my book. Like, am I really going to just throw out another like step-by-step how-to guide into the Amazon space for paralegals? Or am I going to actually write them the book that they deserve to both empower them and give them the strategy, the lightened load when they realize just how simple it is to start a business and make it profitable? So then you can realize how much easier, you know, how it's easy also to scale it and get to the multi 6-figure and 7-figure mark, even with just simple niches and simple little service offerings or courses or a variety of products, and saying that the more paralegals rise, the entire industry will rise with it. It's a rising tide effect. And so I realized that like that was the book I needed to give paralegals. I scrapped like half of the book I had written that was pretty much ready for like final edits, like tie a bow on it, get it published. And then over the holiday break, I just went for it. My health declined in the process. Constant headaches from staring at my screen for so long. I probably didn't give my child the Christmas break that he deserved. We did catch up a movie once and did some fun things, but it was a lot, just my laptop next to my fire, catch up. And I've caught up sort of now in the editing phase of my book, and I'm delivering a book that my community truly deserves from me. Like, you deserve this book. Somebody should have written it for you a long time ago. I am the chosen one. Just kidding. I'm not going to give myself that much credit. Anyway, so then I realized when I first announced my upcoming release of the Paralegals Should Be Millionaires book, the difference in response from the Paralegal Entrepreneur book to the, hey, I rebranded it, I'm a little unhinged, this is what I'm actually going to release, to the Paralegals Should Be Millionaires. A whole whirlwind of a difference. I mean, more signups for my free freelance paralegal course, my free legal course creator academy course, all my freebies to help them navigate what path they want to take spiked 230% increase over a week. My following increased, I think, like 1,000 over the last few weeks of posting about this book and little snippets of chapters of this book. So what does that tell you in terms of business and everything that I teach about business? I reached my North Star clients, right? I reached my North Star audience in the paralegal space. I finally found the right message and the right backing to a message and the drive that I want to push into the industry and everything I do here that connected. It's like those paralegals were sitting in my space, watching me post my stuff left and right. Yep, I get engagement. I got really positive feedback from them. And you, I'm assuming, watching this or listening. But the moment I just had that epiphany and changed just a simple title that comes with such a background mission and who I'm trying to reach, the paralegal that does want more from their career and they want to stay being a paralegal, but they want more of something, whether it's career autonomy, taking it into their own hands, more money, or all the above. Like, I finally reached them. And that's the beauty of marketing and having an idea of who your North Star audience is, your North Star client is, but then also taking the pressure off of yourself in social media, in everything you do, of saying everything is a test. I'm not, I obviously didn't throw the Paralegals Should Be Millionaires out there as a test. This is what I'm doing. But everything, and then when you're tracking the data from it, when you're tracking the metrics of what that does in terms of conversions, my website views went up 230%. My free course grabs went up, enrollments went up, I think it was 75 or 100% within a week. My course sales went up, I can't remember the percentage. Whatever, it doesn't matter. For purposes of example, they all went up, and tracking it back to that message, I capitalized and doubled down on that message and continued to drip out more pieces from the book to see, okay, is it just the title or is it the message behind the title? Can this be sustainable, right? I didn't want to just throw like a clickbaity type of post out there and not see it through. Every one of my videos that are talking about this book and pieces from the book, right, doubled my traffic. And so that's all to say, again, sometimes we think we're close to our North Star audience. I thought I was over the last year, talking in the Paralegal Freelance Lounge to paralegals that might want to go freelance. But at its core, I needed to peel layers down to really what's going on internally and externally in my ideal student. I don't even know what to call you guys. My ideal student's life. And what transformation do they want to see? Okay. So I think I through all that, I just talked about my name story. So I'm the Paralegals Should Be Millionaires, Paralegals Should Be Millionaire podcast. We'll see how that goes for the year. I told you I'm going to focus more on the podcast than on the YouTube channel until I hire somebody to edit my YouTube, condense down my podcast episodes into a YouTube video versus me focusing on a YouTube video and then putting it on my podcast, like the edited version. I talked about my book, and I want to just touch on my new course that is here for 2025. That's the Legal Course Creator Academy, where I'm going to show paralegals how to add 4,000 to 10,000, and you'll learn in the free training that is paired with this course how that is such a wide number depending on you and your goals. $4,000 to $10,000 per month in revenue and income for you with 5 to 10 hours per week of work. I know that sounds so clickbaity, like I'm trying to trap you into like a big promise with very little effort on your end, but that's exactly how I operate my course, the Freelance Paralegal Roadmap. So I'm teaching those systems, my trial and errors, what worked, what didn't work since launching it back in 2021, shelving it for a year, coming back to it in 2024. It was more than a year that I shelved it, 2024. And then at the end of 2024, turning it into an autopilot sales system where all I have to do is really just provide value to my audience and show up for them in a way that they need me in free content to help them navigate their way to taking a leap into something bigger for themselves, 5 to 10 hours per week. And it's usually spent, a lot of it, on my phone while I'm sitting on the couch and I don't want to watch Bluey that's on TV for my son, or in the car driving. I'm a passenger princess. My husband drives mostly everywhere we go. So a lot of it is very passive time. It's not I'm sitting behind my computer for 10 hours. So when I say those numbers, I don't just throw them out there because it sounds good. It's actually something achievable, not only by myself, but other course creators that I've had the pleasure of connecting with in the industry of legal that are having those same results. So if you are interested in starting to explore the Legal Course Creator Academy, I highly recommend you start with my free training. It's about an hour long. You can go to the link in the description and grab it, watch it, start brainstorming some course ideas, thinking about, what would really light you up and what audience and what need you would like to fill, what gap you would like to fill in the paralegal and legal space, and just start dreaming a little bit and thinking about it a little bit. Go grab that free course, see what it's all about. That's all I really want to talk about on this new course that I have available to you. Okay. One more thing I want to talk about is upcoming events. I've been asked by several paralegals since dang son, I need to get. For those of you that are on the podcast, you can't see me, but I need to get blinds because it's like in the evenings when I sit down to record these, the sun is like right there, but it's okay. Anyway, upcoming events. I've had a couple of paralegals reach out asking me if I was going to be live in person speaking at any certain time. They wanted to meet me, wanted to pick my brain in person, get to know me. I will be in Coconut Creek, Florida at the Limitless Paralegal event hosted by Etarosa. That is on March 19th, I believe. March 19th. So I'm going to double, triple check that because I know it's a Sunday and I know my kids are on spring break that week. So we're making a kind of a family trip. Nope. It is March 16th. Sunday, March 16th. And I was just emailing Etta because a couple of paralegals are already planning to be there. I'm messaging her about, hey, do we want to make like a dinner the night before, a social gathering the night before? I had a couple of paralegals ask if we could do something like that. So if you're interested in taking a little trip to Florida, or if you're already in the area, Coconut Creek, March 16th, perfect time for spring break. Come see us. I'm very excited. My topic is Build, Believe, Become, and I'm very excited to deliver my segment. I think it's going to be an amazing event. This is Etta's, I think, second year doing it. So it will be a wonderful event, fully fed, fully watered, beverages, food, all in the house at the event. So make sure you come. I will link the Limitless Paralegal event in the description below. Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to do for today's episode. I know it's short. I'm so sorry that I went MIA for a month. I wasn't feeling the podcast. I wasn't feeling the YouTube channel. I wasn't feeling my message, as I stated just for a long-winded minute ago or 10 minutes ago, 10 minutes of a rant, if you will, on finally feeling like I'm starting to connect with the paralegals that I need to be connecting with in my time in this industry on this earth. Okay. So I finally feel it. You might've seen a little bit of a shift in between where I changed the cover art just to kind of get a feel for that. I changed it to like next gen lawpreneur. Wasn't jiving with me, wasn't making me want to get on and record, but Paralegals Should Be Millionaires is going to make me inspired to throw so much goodness at you in each episode. And I also think it's going to be a very positive thing for me to focus more on the podcast than the YouTube channel. But you'll be seeing them here on the YouTube channel too. So if you'd like to see my face and my crazy hand motions while I talk, welcome to YouTube. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to some different content, better content. I shouldn't say different, better, more of what you need to hear. Even paralegals, whether you're new to the industry, whether you're a couple years in and you're trying to figure out like what's going to be my career trajectory, it's going to be a great podcast for you to sort of start thinking about what you want to do in today's day. You know, I have lots of goodness for you, lots of tips that your future self is going to thank you for 100 times over, even if you're not ready to start a business for a couple of years. To the person that's ready and needs actionable next step type of guidance and support, to the paralegal that is currently operating full-blown businesses. I know a lot of my loyal listeners, shout out if you're listening to this right now, are some of my very first course takers of the Freelance Paralegal Roadmap. I called it something different back then, but it's the same roadmap. And they're running agencies and really amazing service-based businesses. I'm excited to make more legal course creators out there. I'm excited to just connect with paralegals across this industry that are here to help refine it and re-message it and re-image it and really finally get the distinction of the paralegal that the ABA tried to half-heartedly give us, and it flopped, right? We still are blended roles. We're still underpaid. Oh, Jackie, don't get down a rabbit hole. Okay, so I think this is a good ending spot. But before I go, I think you deserve a foster farm update. It's been a long time since I've given one of those. Somebody told me to pet my chickens for them on a LinkedIn post, which I thought was really cute because obviously you hear me talk about my chickens and you've listened to the podcast. The chickens are trying to stay warm. It is so cold here. I have like been babying them as much as I can out in their coop. It's been like negative for a week, negative degrees. And we're going to have another cold snap that's going to be worse. And I'm considering bringing them into my garage. But the thing with chickens is you can't just, hey, I'm going to pull you into a heated garage that's 60 degrees and then throw you back out into 20 degrees. So it's like, what's in their best interest in terms of bringing them in for some warmth, but not screwing them over for the rest of the winter is one consideration. My horses are happy. They get their blankets and they're spoiled. The goats are very overweight. I mean, very overweight. And I'm like, I give them hay. I can't not feed them. Like, do we need to exercise them? I don't know. As many of you know, goats came into my life unexpectedly when we had a cousin in my husband's family pass away and we inherited his goat. So goats are like a new realm for me. The dogs are sassy as ever. Red, my bloodhound that you guys have maybe seen in prior videos, has gone semi-viral on TikTok. People love him. People love him. If only they like really knew him. So yeah, he gained like 6,000 followers in 2 months and all his videos are going viral here. It's just been wild. It's been wild. The kiddos are doing great. Jack is enjoying kindergarten. Noelle is, some days she's 11, some days she's 13. We don't know. It's that we're heading into that phase of life. But she's just been wonderful. She's very good help, great at school, great at everything. So yeah, that's kind of my personal life update. So I hope you enjoyed that. Maybe I'll keep you in the loop about how my chickens do, how they weather the winter. Ugh, I hate winter in Wisconsin. It's so many why do I live here moments. All right, guys, thank you so very much for tuning in today. I got to start practicing this. Definitely check in next time for my next episode on Paralegals Should Be Millionaires podcast. Did that come out right? I've been saying Paralegal Freelance Lounge for so long. Check in next week, or I don't know, when I make an episode again. Make sure you're subscribing so you get notified of the next episode that comes on the Paralegals Should Be Millionaires podcast. Have a great day ahead of you.